If you think Pharaoh was the real enemy at the Red Sea, you're reading the story too quickly. Most of us look at the Red Sea story like it's a victory lap. God opens the water, Pharaoh's army gets wiped out, and Israel walks away free. We treat it like the happily ever after moment of the Bible. But if you actually look at the scripture, something far worse hunted the Israelites than Pharaoh's pursuit. In Exodus 14, as soon as they see the dust from the Egyptian chariots, they start losing it. They weren't just panicking. They literally asked Moses, "Was it because there weren't enough graves in Egypt that you brought us here to die?" They actually told him it would have been better to stay as slaves. Keep in mind, these people just saw 10 plagues. They saw the Nile turn to blood. They watched the land go dark. But the second things got tight. Fear deleted their memory of the miracles, and we do the exact same thing. How fast do you start romanticizing your past when your current situation gets uncomfortable? How quickly do you start missing the things God actually rescued you from, just because the future feels a bit blurry? Even the miracle itself wasn't instant. Exodus 14 says God drove the sea back with a strong wind all night. It was a slow, step-by-step walk. It wasn't a magic trick, it was a process. But look at what happens just one chapter later in Exodus 16. They start complaining about food. They start talking about how they sat by the meat pots and had plenty of bread in Egypt. That's a lie. They were in forced labor. They weren't enjoying a buffet. They were being worked to death. But anxiety is a hell of an editor. It makes you remember the comforts of your old life while completely cropping out the chains that kept you there. Then you get to Exodus 32. Moses is up on the mountain for 40 days. No updates or any signal he's coming down soon. So the people go to Aaron and say, "Make us gods who will go before us." They didn't stop believing in God, you know. They just couldn't handle not seeing him. Egypt had trained them to only trust what they could touch. So when God didn't move on their timeline, they went back to what felt familiar. That's the real issue here. They were out of Egypt, but Egypt was still in their heads. They were physically free, but they were still using a slave's toolkit to handle fear and delay. So, when things stall in your life, what do you start building? When you don't get the answer you wanted, what golden calf do you reach for? Is it a drink? Is it an old relationship? Is it just a desperate need to control everything around you? The real threat wasn't the Egyptian army behind them. It was the urge to run back to what was predictable. The beauty of this story isn't just the parting of the sea, it's that God didn't walk away when they started acting out. He kept sending the manna and kept showing up for them. He didn't just pull them out of a country. He stayed with them while he pulled the slave thinking out of their hearts. Leaving your past is a one-time event. But learning how to be free? That takes time. Be honest with yourself. What part of your Egypt are you still defending? Are you rewriting your history because you're scared of the unknown? If God took away every problem you have right now, would you still be a slave on the inside?